Hello, this is Mike Swanson. I run the website WallStreetWindow.com, and the odds are, I'm live right now doing this video because you got an email from me being on my stock trading email list. If you're not on the email list, you got to get on it. Go to the website Wall Street Window, click any article, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see a form to do it. I want to show you a stock that I own that I think is in a good position, just starting a new bull market today. Actually, might buy some shares of it as we're speaking. But I also want to talk about Robinhood because it's been in the news a lot. And I have a small Robinhood account, and I'm going to show you that account and what I've learned about Robinhood and what people are doing in the markets by having this account. It's really the only reason I maintain it is to understand what's going on. And it's useful to do that because we want to be on top of these markets. But as we get to that, let me show you some of the news items today that are going on in the market. And I'm going to share the screen so you can see this. So this is the email that I sent out this morning around 7:30. In all my emails, they'll contain the headline that goes to an article or interview I've done that's posted in the morning. And then of course there's other content on the website. But between that, I put in these top headlines of the day. And if you're not getting this email, you need to get on it. Go to wallstreetwindow.com and click any article and then enter your email address and subscribe. But let's look at just these top headlines, and then we're going to dig deep into this. So number one, Market Watch. Cannabis stocks crashed. In fact, many of them were down 20% yesterday. But as they peaked out, old Portnoy, who has gotten a following as being one of the leaders of Robinhood traders and a hero of sorts on the Wall Street Bets Reddit board, he was boasting to people that I've got a $50,000 profit on Sundial. And he said, that's how you do it, boys. So we're going to keep that stock in mind. We're going to be looking at it in a minute. Sundial. So a lot of people follow this guy, and there's a rise in these marijuana stocks of the past couple of days. A lot of it was tied into the activities of this Reddit group that become famous over its GameStop play, AMC play, and then they collapsed, and then they got into the idea of shorting or going long silver to create a silver short squeeze. That trade failed. However, I think silver is a great investment, and that's just noise. It's still a great buy, and it's actually up since that failure, but the short squeeze failed. And then they jumped into cannabis, really promoting that. And Portnoy led the lead. And what happened, as you could see, the headlines of the past couple of days. 2 days ago, a headline on CNBC, cannabis stocks soar as Reddit crowd spike GameStop urges buying. But then 23 hours ago, marijuana ETFs on a high on Reddit frenzy. And then just hours after that story on Markets Insider, cannabis stocks tumble. In fact, they were down 20% across the board. So anyone who bought at the peak of this mania, in fact, when Portnoy was boasting of it, is now suffering mega losses. So if we look at ACB, you can see how it's fallen substantially off the high and is down 9% today. And most of the cannabis stocks have had similar losses. So this Wall Street Reddit crowd, the people, that aren't on the inside of it, they end up, buying in this herd at tops and then suffering. So this is the third time this has happened in 3 weeks. People were saying, this is the little guy, this is incredible, they're going to revolutionize Wall Street. Well, they're making people lose money that are getting involved in it. And that goes to the third article, Sundial Growers, why you should avoid Sundial Growers stock like the plague, which was the one Portnoy was telling people to buy. Well, that stock, after it has fallen, had a horrible day. Then Yahoo Finance comes out and says it's a horrible stock. Well, the result of this is the fourth story. Small angry mobs are now showing up outside Robinhood headquarters and demonstrating. They're throwing poop all over the place and being very mean. They're very angry, and they're mean to the Robinhood building, blaming it for their losses. Well, I would dare to say that it's anyone can lose money in the markets. The markets are risky. And really, most people that start out trading end up losing money. And it's those losses that turns losing traders into winning traders, because then they face them and they decide, okay, I got into these markets without a real strategy, without really knowing what I'm doing. I got caught up in some bad stuff, and now I'm going to move on and learn from that. So some of the people in this angry mob crowd will probably do that, but sadly, most people do not. And then they just jump on something else and repeat the same, behavior over and over again. But it's an interesting little story, in the San Francisco newspaper. I guess this is an image of the building, and it talks about how these people are so angry. But buried in the story is a couple interesting details. One, this one guy that was there demonstrating, he said he lost 50,000 in Nokia stock, and he blames Robinhood for this. But one thing that happened a year ago, or 2 years ago, and I forgot all about this, actually, in November 2019, people on the Wall Street Bets message board discovered an error in the Robinhood app that was allowing them to go on infinite leverage. They were taking small amounts of money and borrowing mega amounts of money. One guy had a $4,000 deposit and borrowed $1 million on margin debt. Absolutely insane thing to do. But a lot of these people then lost money, and then they blame Robinhood on it. Well, I would say anyone who does that loses money. That's their own fault. That'd be like going to a casino and using a credit card to get money and then lose it and then blame the credit card company. And that's how, in one way, we should look at Robinhood. I've said this before, but there's another way. I did an interview on 2 or 3 over the past week making this argument that Robinhood operates like all brokers do, as a bank that lends money to some of their clients so that they can go on margin and so forth. And that's why they had to restrict some of the trading in these stocks. But there's another element of Robinhood that I really want to get into, which is more important. And that is my own account. I don't really actively trade this account, but I opened it up as a sort of a little experiment in the fall. When did it start here? Of 2018, and I was kind of going to use it as a teaching thing. I was going to, go over this, show this account, and really closely follow it. But at some point, I kind of personally lost interest in it, and I found I have to be on top of my larger accounts, and this was turning into a distraction for me. And so what I ended up doing was just dumping the money into a few positions and just forgetting all about it. And you can see those positions are GDX, well, really IAU, which is a metals ETF, and then that's what really the whole account's invested in. It's got 1 share of AUI for $477 and 2 shares of GDX, which is like $70. So it's mostly IAU that this account is in. So when you see the performance there, here, this is what you see when you log into Robinhood. So this is what I wanted to show you what Robinhood is about. So you can see, I want to show you why I'm so critical of it, the real reasons I'm critical of it. But this is the performance. It doesn't reflect my larger accounts or anything like that, but just for for whatever to talk about it. In the market fell like 20%, and this account had a major drawdown of 4% when the market fell 20. So that was nice. But the gold, but I was invested in some other stuff at that time too. But be diversified. When the market collapses, usually you can not lose as much, which is what you want to do to beat the market in the long run. And then, I think I pretty much had this thing on autopilot, hardly paying any attention to it. When the market crashed, so I was up 19% and then ended up down 5%. So that was a 24% swing when the market fell over 33%. And then I came back to a 25% return because the gold stuff soared, and gold has consolidated ever since. So, I'm now up 11 and a half, but again, I don't actively trade this. The only reason I really maintain this account is to look at these lists that I now want to show you. I got $8.39 in buying power. Okay. This is why I'll probably do a trade in this video just to use that money. What good is cash, huh? So this is where Robinhood is very troubling. So this is what it shows you, your account, the positions you got, and that's the real only information that you see. And you see these lists, popular lists, and then some news stories of the day, not many, and there's no really rhyme or reason to them. They're just news stories of what's moving. I don't really know how you can really make money off that. The news stories I try to show people have a reason to them. I think, Robinhood, and I'm not saying buy these things necessarily, but I do embed in these stories things that I do think are trends that are long lasting and meaningful. And so one of the things I'm showing people, the state of the economy is an important thing to understand, but there's a consistent theme of commodity super cycles and inflation and the interest rate policies that are contributing to both of those factors that are only going to continue even longer. This week we saw Jerome Powell give a speech. I don't remember where it was, but he basically said, look, we might see some inflation numbers increase in a couple months, but don't pay any attention to it because we have to think about increasing unemployment. Well, that has critical ramifications for everyone investing in the stock market. And it's a story that is ongoing, not like a blip for, cannabis stocks going up for 5 days, then collapsing, or GameStop 1 week collapsing. I want investment trends I think are going to last for quite some time. And so this is what I'm trying to, part of these emails are focusing on that. Of course, we got to throw in some political stuff, and I'd like to throw in some cultural items to show this is what American culture is about. These are the biggest stories going on. Sometimes I actually get emails from people who don't like the stories, and these are the ones they don't like, the ones at the end. But this email is also reflecting what is going on in our society. These are the top stories of the day, not simply ones that we need to be aware about, but the ones that everyone else is following. The pop culture stuff, and the glue girl is something going on, just as GameStop was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So anyway, let's get out of that. It's these lists, though. The big question, the thing about Robinhood is, how does anyone that has a Robinhood account make any sort of decision on what's a good stock to buy and what should be avoided? Because millions of people, this is how they're trading, this is what they're using, and the information on an app that they got for Robinhood is even more limited than what you see here. But this is, when you open the app, this is what you see, the price fluctuation. You scroll down, you see your stocks and these headlines. This is how the people are deciding. And there's no way you can really make any sort of decision on simple news stories that are chosen the way they choose them here. So what does a new trader with a Robinhood account do? Well, they are going to gravitate to the lists. The top lists in Robinhood shows you these lists here. So you're supposed to assume that, oh, these lists are what's important. This is where the good stocks are. And you can click to the 100 most popular list, which is the thing reason I keep this, not to buy the stocks, but because I want to know what is it the Robinhood people are doing. And this is the 100 most owned stocks by Robinhood account owners, ranked by the order that they own them. Apple is number one, Tesla is number two. However, a couple weeks ago, last week, or 10 days ago, AMC was number one. So millions of people just on Robinhood piled into AMC so much that they pushed it to the top of the list, right at the top of the stock. And then and then the stock collapsed, and that they've been selling. Well, Sundial Growers was nowhere on the list 3 weeks ago, and then it shot up just 3 days ago, right at the top. And let me show you what a chart of Sundial now looks like. And these people bought on the top, and it's fallen, come off the high there. Oh, do I have the symbol wrong? Frankly, it's a stock I don't even know if I've even heard of before until now. But this is what it did. It went to 3 and now it's 2. So that's a big loss. Actually, it went to 4 and now it's 2. So it's down more than 50% from the high. And these people just sucked in and got trapped. But this is what Robinhood does. It encourages herd-like behavior, because the people use this. This is really the only information they got is what the other Robinhood people are doing, and that's it. And anyone with any sort of knowledge in the markets knows that herd investing ends up, it's so easy to get caught up buying right on the top. If you just buy what the herd is buying, it's best to get in ahead of the herd, before there's even a herd that's formed, frankly, at the beginning of a brand new bull market. That's what I tend to focus on. It's not what Robinhood does. Robinhood, by the way it's designed with these lists, encourages people to get in late, to get in, and they mold their customers and account holders into this crazy thing. And it gets very dangerous if these people are on margin, which is why they had to limit the trades in those stocks. Because if they don't, and the margin people fail, then the whole broker could go under. And this is the type of thing, we're going to have Senate hearings and congressional hearings next week in a Robinhood. This is what they need to investigate. And if the regulators would do what I think they should do, they would force Robinhood to do away with margin to their customers, or raise the margin interest that they charge them, so that they would be discouraged from taking so much on. This is how Robinhood is making, I think, people lose money. But the title of this video, I think I made it something like, why does Robinhood make it so hard to make money for their customers? The reason is they don't give people any real information that you can make a rational investment decision on. So the people are forced into herd investing. And it's not just this 100 popular list. This is another way this gets, frankly, disgusting to me, is the other lists. What's on it? Bitcoin family, crypto, altcoins. There's a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 things. 3 of them are Bitcoin or redundant crypto. It's, 3 are the same thing. And then we've got cannabis right at the top, right there. Cannabis. Why? Why is cannabis there? Because it was moving up, and the Reddit crowd was, helping tell people to buy it, and they got millions of followers. So then the Robinhood people are like, well, we've got the Reddit people, a lot of our customers, they're piling into this. Let's put cannabis on the list. And then they're going to click cannabis and say, oh, I want to buy cannabis. Okay, they're the top stocks. I'm piling in. And then they get in. Some stocks might be good, but the ones that are at the top of the list are being the ones that got the most momentum, and then they're in danger of topping out at any moment. And it's just, the whole thing is horrible, the way it's designed, and there's no information. The charts, if you pull up a chart, here's this ETF I got, GDX. There's no information here. This chart has no indicators on it. You can't even see the volume in it. Nothing. Only price. And Robinhood trains its customers only to focus on price. So they look for stocks that have very short-term price moves. I'm looking at a 5-year chart, but the default setting when you log in for the first time is a 1-day chart. So they're really forcing people into herd day trading, which is the riskiest type of trading you can do. You can't, that's how you get caught up in tops. If you just randomly buy what is up the most, in the entire stock market every day when it comes to individual stocks, that's like the worst strategy you can do. It's the exact strategy that Robinhood encourages people to do. There's no information here beyond that. It's awful. So you need to use things that have stock charts with indicators on them. You can go to the website that I just went to here, stockcharts.com, and you put lots of indicators on there. There's free stock charts, and I also use TC2000 to run scans and analyze sectors and all this kind of stuff. But there's all kinds of alternatives out there. Any one of them has 100 times more information than Robinhood does. I do not know any professional investors or traders who only use Robinhood or really use it at all. So it's just it's like taking a knife to a gunfight. And if you don't think trading is a battle, it is. And you got to be equipped to it with your wits and with the tools. And all the tools are available for anyone out there. You just got to go. I know Robinhood people are going to get this because of the title I put on YouTube. And that's is why I'm doing the video, partly to tell, hopefully, a few of them will listen and move beyond just using Robinhood into more sophisticated programs, software, a better brokerage house, and so forth, and realize the real problem with Robinhood isn't that they limited your trading on GameStop or AMC, or they give you too much margin. It's they encourage you to trade in a non-productive manner, and they do it because that's what attracts the most customers. They're giving people what they know more of them want than fewer of them want. They just want as many brokerage accounts open as they possibly can open because they make money by trades. The trades are free because there's houses on the other end of the trade that they transfer to that give kickbacks to Robinhood. That's how their whole business operates. So they want day traders, they want frequent trades, and they encourage people to do it with the way it's designed, but they don't help people make money. So anyway, that's enough of a rant on them. Let's talk about a good stock. And how do you find a good stock? Well, the stock I want to point out to you is one I mentioned earlier this week on Tuesday on a free blog post on my website. And then I did a video on it where I mentioned it on Wednesday. And I even mentioned it, I believe, yesterday in an interview with Jim Goddard of WallStreet.com. And it's a stock I own. It's Ship Finance International. And it's a shipping stock. And there's 3 reasons I like the stock. One is it's in a sector that has a chart similar to the stock. It's been in a bear market for years, and it's been lagging the stock market. But I think it's one of the final sectors to turn up into a new bull market. And this is one of the biggest stocks in that sector. So you can see something, if we draw it on here, sort of like some traders call it a reverse head and shoulders pattern. That's where you get basically a triple bottom is what a reverse head and shoulders pattern basically is. And then you break out through the recent highs, and we're doing that today. But I talked about the stock a couple of days ago, and now it's up today almost 5%. So that's the kind of things I'm looking for, not something that's gone up 30%, and it's on Reddit and it's on the top 100 list or whatever, Robinhood. It's no one's in it. It's not on the Robinhood list at all. And it's coming out of a base, and when something comes out of a base, now going through the closing above the 150-day moving average for the first time in at least a year, I think I'd have to go look, but several years most likely, that's the start of a move, hopefully. It's certainly not, a manic peak. And it's something I'm hoping I will be able to hold for the rest of this year. And it pays a nice dividend. And what is this company? That's part of the story. So, okay, what do I want in a good stock? The chart pattern, which I kind of just described. I want good earnings, a nice dividend or earnings growth, some fundamental reason to make the stock attractive. And this second reason completely disqualifies crypto. It's why I'll never buy a crypto coin. I don't want them in my account. I don't want anything to do with them. They don't pay dividends. There's no yield. They have no earnings. If I buy a stock like this, I have ownership in a company. If that company gets bought out, I will benefit. I don't want virtual paper. There's no fundamentals behind it except for theoretical stories. People will say how it's going to replace the dollar or do this and that and this, and none of it, has zero, there's no numbers. There's no reality that is quantifiable. It's all theories and dreams. And you don't own an interest in anything like you do when you own a stock. So I have no interest in it. So it's not in my account, never will be in any of my brokerage accounts. This pays a 7.83% dividend. And what does it do? And that's the third factor, is the sector. Good fundamentals, a good chart, and a good sector. The sector has to have either, be one of the top sectors in the stock market for a period of time, or a sector that appears to have the potential to begin a new bull market. And I think this sector is doing it because historically it goes up as the last sector going up in a commodity cycle. And that commodity cycle has a historical pattern to it where metals go up first, soft commodities go up second, and then energy and oil go into a bull market. And then these stocks join the game last. And it appears to be exactly repeating again. So let's look at I'll just show you the website, and then because then you'll see what this stock does or company does, because it tells you right here, growth, profits, dividends. Yeah, that's what we want. Here's what it does. It operates these ships, 9 tankers, 22 dry bulk vessels, 50 liners, 3 offshore facilities involved in, the shipyard business. The ships are all over the world, and it's involved in global commerce, which you would think that global commerce, we're not in a boom, but it's bottomed last year with all the shutdowns in the spring and the summer, and it was actually in a declining. Global trade was declining, but I'm not saying global trade's about to completely boom and explode, but it's going to grow from where it's been last year. The whole global economy is going to improve as all the reasons why, but and inflation. This is a sector also tied in with commodities and oil prices, and that helps when those prices go up, the amount of money that companies like this charge for carrying freight across the ocean, the shipping rates go up. This is how these companies make money, from rising shipping rates. That's when their profits go up. That's when they increase their dividends. And it's also why the stocks crash, because when global economy contracts, their profits contract, their dividends contract. So it's a volatile sector that goes into deep bear markets historically, and then can have great price appreciation in bull markets. So that's what, that's why there's potential for nice gains here. I only bought a couple stocks in the sector. I'm not I only put no more than 1% of my money in an individual stock, and I bought probably about 10 of these things, but this is one of the better ones. It's why I'm drawing attention to it. It's paying one of the bigger dividends. It's got many vessels. You look at the revenue, 3.2 billion in contracted revenue, and you can actually go here and it'll show you somehow where all the vessels are that they're operating around the entire world. So hold, how do we do it? All? Well, I don't know. Oh, find the vessel. Oh, Everbright. There it is. It's a tanker. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. It's a city, country, something I've never really heard about before. But anyway, that's the story. This is the stock, and seeing that I've got $8.39, just enough to buy one single share in this Robinhood account. I'm going to try to do the first trade in this Robinhood account that I have done, I think, in over a year. But I own 1,000 shares, I believe it is, in my main account of this stock. But let's be a Robinhood trader and buy one share. Will it even do it? Yes, $7.69. I have bought a share of this stock, but I'm going to get an 8% dividend. What's that like? 8 times 7 is. I'm going to make like 50 cents off this over the course of this year. But I bet you that 50 cents is going to be more money than most Robinhood traders make, because they tend to just chase these silly lists here and get caught up at tops. But what's important to understand is how it happens. Why is it? How Robinhood is designed to do this to people. It's just the way this app and website is set up. It gives you no information. And the only information it does give is these lists, which encourages herd-like behavior, when it takes real research and a combination, I think, a triple combo, good fundamentals, a good chart, good sector. That's how you make money. And it takes work and research to find all three of those. And you can't really just jump in and out every single day if you got, that sort of mentality. But I think that's the easiest way to make money in the markets. Buy something and invest in things that you believe in, and not just because it's shooting up for a couple hours and so forth. So it's kind of a slow day in the stock market. The last I looked, the markets were barely up or barely down. I think the NASDAQ might have been green, the S&P red. Gold also isn't doing much today. But it's been a good day for commodities. Gold did go up earlier this week, so did mining stocks. So it's a kind of a slow week, which might be nice, in a certain sense. But to me, we saw the shipping stocks is the most noteworthy move to me this week, because they do appear to have begun something new. So those are my thoughts for today. It's interesting doing a live video like this. I used to do them periodically a couple years ago, then through Google Hangouts, and they discontinued that. So I stopped doing them, and then I found a way to integrate Zoom with YouTube. So I did one yesterday. This is the second one. So this might be something to do more frequently. Try to get Skarika to do one next week. This is what it looks like on the other side. And there's some questions there. So, do I have any brokerages that I recommend? Well, really, they're pretty much all the same nowadays. There isn't much difference. So I would list E-Trade, Ameritrade. Actually, I was about to say a couple others, but they're Scottrade, but they're combined with Ameritrade. But those are the two among the biggest that do cater to individual investors and also larger investors, and they're easy to use. And they also have the zero commissions. One that's more complicated would be Interactive Brokers, which also has the benefit of allowing, if you're based in the United States, and I think every other country is the same, but they do enable direct access to foreign stock exchanges. So, I like lots of small cap Canadian stocks. If you use Interactive Brokers, you're able to buy the Canadian stocks directly through their stock exchanges, whereas you can't do that with Ameritrade and E-Trade. You have to buy the OTC pink sheet ADR listings, which is okay. I do that myself. In Ameritrade's in Canada, so it's different if you're Canadian. So I'm answering this question as an American. But nowadays, most of these brokerage houses are basically the same. It's just Robinhood it's just almost directly designed to try to attract younger investors through app trading, and therefore really has almost no information. Most brokers have much more information on it. But there's other resources that I mentioned if you want more information, and that's what I do. I don't really use the brokerage things for research at all. I do believe Interactive Brokers does charge commissions when you go onto the foreign exchanges. I used to have an account with them. I don't at the moment. I might open one back up, but when I did, they did definitely charge. And they also had a thing where you had to take your money, which would be in American dollars, and transform it into Canadian dollars to then start buying on the Canadian exchange. And they probably got account size limits too. Could be 20,000 or something like that to do those sort of things. So that could be a limiting factor too. Whereas nowadays, really all the other brokers, they don't really have account minimums. So, I mean, that's one good thing Robinhood did, I guess, is, by having the free commissions, all these other brokers dropped their commissions to 0 too. So in that sense, Robinhood did accomplish a good thing for everybody, and that shouldn't be taken away from the company. I'm just kind of ranting about all this stuff because it just kind of drove me crazy when the GameStop thing was happening and hearing how people, all over the place were arguing, making these arguments I didn't think reflected the real situation. Yeah, I think they were arguing about the wrong stuff, and it was everywhere. I mean, on the nightly news programs, they were doing it, and it wasn't just Republicans or Democrats. They all were doing it, and they may continue to do it next week. So it will be very interesting to see, and I'll probably watch them if I can, these hearings with the Senate and Congress over this stuff and what arguments are made. It'd be very interesting to watch. Well, anyway, I don't really know the answer. We could look it all up. You can find some news stories about how limit orders are affecting the order flow. Actually, I don't really think about the stuff that much, but there was a story along those lines in, I think this morning in the Wall Street Journal, saying that a lot of these brokers, and it's not just Robinhood, that they're taking their order flow to people like Citadel and other brokers where they're not, they're in these so-called dark pools where they're not being reported immediately to the regulators, and they're not showing up on the bid and ask. And this could be an issue where you are probably, all of us are suffering, getting not what would be the best price because of this. So most of the brokers are doing this sort of thing, but in the long run, I don't worry too much about the pennies. If you're day trading, then the pennies really do matter because you're, doing all these frequent trades, so I don't basically think about it too much. In fact, I usually just throw in market orders 90% of the time, unless the stock, these OTC stocks, you can't do that with, or something thinly traded. You got to use limit orders. But if it's just something like SFL, I've just put in a market order. As you see, that's what I did in my main account too. I generally personally don't care that much or think about the pennies. I don't even know there's anything we can do about it. I guess that's why I don't think about it too much. But anyway, y'all have a good weekend, and we'll talk later on.